All right, we are ready to roll on a Monday. We got a lot to do today, Rico. Some of it tournaments, some of it baseball. That's right, baseball. We're about 72 hours away. And yes, we got to talk one note about the Lions and why I'm not angry about something. But let's just start out. Let's do it. I don't know, Kenny. I don't know if we have the audio and it's not important because listening to Izzo talk sometimes is just brutal on the senses. Mike, I'm going to die trying. So after yet another predictable ass beaten by North Carolina, Izzo doubled down on something. And look, we're going to have a conversation about it. And I don't know if you're going to like it or not. I don't much care. It's just talking. And you can have your opinion, and I just need you to sell me this pen. Kenny, do we have – all right, so this is him after getting drilled by UNC. Take a listen. All right, so one note I'll just say at the start, and I don't want to nitpick, and I don't want to make this the biggest part of this. I know it's raw, and it's in the postgame, and I'm not going to, hang him on this. I don't want to hear about a deep run. I want to hear about a second national title. Because, what is a deep run exactly? Well, I'll tell you, it's something he's only done once in about the last decade. But my point is, it's all about the second national title. Now, I know it's late. I don't want to, Rico, I don't want to have, maybe he would choose a different word, but let's have a conversation about this. Me and you, and then Spartan Nation, I guess. And then, yeah, if you're not a fan of Michigan State, you could still have an opinion. I want to hear your take first, not as a setup. I just want to see.
Kenny, you see that rake over there?
No. I want to see how close we are or far apart before we start the peace negotiations.
I've heard him say this before. It was right after they lost to UCLA. I want to say it was 2008. First round of the tournament.
Smith game?
Yes. They were in Memphis. They lose the first round to UCLA, and he came out and said a lot of the same things. And we all thought, yeah, Tom, whatever. But then he backed it up, and they started winning Big Ten titles again. They went to the Final Four back-to-back years. Team got good, but it looked like as if he lost his way. I would say this, Tom, it's easy to say that. Are you willing to put in the work to get the deeper runs? Because if you get the deeper runs, you can get to the Final Four, you can get to the national title game. But you got to get out the first weekend. The Sweet 16 can't be the new standard at MSU, or, then the game has passed you by. He realizes that. You can't say you want to do all of this if you're not willing to put in the work. It's like the smoker who was like, I want to quit smoking, so I'm just going to cut down to 5 packs a day. You're not really trying to quit smoking. You got to just put the cigarettes down. You got to go put in the work. You got to develop your players better. You got to go get the portal better. You got to win games, those tough games in November and December that everybody says don't count. Yeah, you got to go win those games against the Dukes and the Kentuckys and the Kansases and the Gonzaga. You got to win those games. You got to have less than double-digit losses overall in the Big Ten. You can't go 10-10.
This is good.
You have to be able to really improve and show improvement and be willing to put in the work.
Kenny,
it's easy to say.
We're going to sit down at the bargaining table, and I think there's a chance we hammer a deal out here. This is good because I think you and I are much closer than maybe either of us realized.
Well, ever since they beat Mississippi State, I've been on my game.
You've been flying high. You might be high for all I know, but no. Here's my problem with what he said. Okay, I'm gonna get to a deeper run in this tournament or die trying. Well, are you going to do what it takes? You say do the work. I think the specifics of it are the following. I think there needs to be a real, almost like an audit of his staff. Look, I admit.
No. Fair. Oh, I was just reaching for the bell.
Oh, I got you. I thought you were reaching to hit me. So, no, it's, I understand the family atmosphere of it. Okay, and it's Thomas Kelly, and it used to be David Thomas, and you got Mark Montgomery and Doug Wojcik, and you know what that sounds like to me? D'Antonio the late years.
He needs a no man. A guy that'll say, no, Tom, I don't think. Hey, Tom, They just had a 17-0 run. Maybe we need to call a timeout before they hit the 18th point when we're still winning the game.
Okay.
You need a guy who says, why do you do it this way? Well, we've always done it this way. I understand, but why?
The other thing, and this is it's both harder to justify and it's harder to do than me saying it. I think there needs to be an update to the approach, specifically offensively. When you look at how MSU approaches things, when they're able to get out and run, which is rare, everyone knows the scouting report. Sure, it looks okay. Their half-court offense is morbid. It goes to recruiting, where it's not just the recruiting rank. It's about, are you recruiting players that are able to play? Largely, like this ballyhooed class. Look, Fears clearly showed some potential. It's not his fault he got shot. Right. Xavier Booker couldn't play. Cohen Carr couldn't play. Normand couldn't play. That doesn't help me. You know what Duke's going to have next year when John Shire brings in that number one class? I guarantee you those kids can play.
Well, it's just a volume thing. Like, if you bring in 5 players, chances are 2 are ready to be one and done. The other 3 may be a bust, but you brought in the volume. I get what you're saying.
It's the staff, it's the recruiting approach, and here's the last piece, and you know it, it's the portal. Like MSU right now, they need a guard. You got to replace the scoring of Hogard and Walker. Yes, it's Jeremy Fears' show. You still need another player. They need a wing, desperately. Someone who can moonlight between the 3 and the 4, and they need a big. That's 3 players in the portal from a coach who seemingly did a Hulk Hogan to WCW heel turn and said, no portal. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to do the stuff that needs to be done, stay as long as you want. But Rico, it's the staff, the recruiting, the approach, and the portal. It's 4 things. Do you believe he's going to do the stuff necessary, or is this going to be the stubborn beach club?
Yeah, I think he is, Mike. I think I'm going to base it off his past history. When he made that statement, and we all were like, "Yeah, Tom, whatever. You know, you're just giving us lip service." He actually went out there. He revamped the way that he recruited. He started going after more guys who were top at the time. It was like top 25 players. I think that's when he came in with the Kalen Lucases and all of that in the world. It's like, okay, things got better. You know, from what I gathered, he hit the ground running, and he went out and tried to see, okay, I need to go. He was at the game with the incoming recruit down in Ohio. He's saying the right things. Now, the next month is going to tell me when you start saying, okay, this kid is looking at transferring into Michigan State, because I do think if you want a quick fix, you got to at least bring in 2 people. You may have 2 to 3 scholarships available. I think depending on what Jay Nakins does. If he comes back, you got 2 scholarships available. You got to use those. You can't bank those. God bless him. You can't give it to Nick Sanders, okay? Can't give it to Barry's kid. Can't do that. Barry's got enough money. He can afford to pay for his own kid to go to college. Yeah. You got to use those to bring in guys that can help you win right now. You can't look to the future. And if you're worried about, well, my scholar, go get 2 grad transfers that will only count 1 year against your scholarship limit. But I'm with you on this. Everything that you said is right. As far as your staff, you need somebody that can be the contrarian, to be the no man, to be the guy that actually challenges you and frustrates you because they won't go along with everything that you say. Because I do think that if you put yourself in an echo chamber, you don't get better. You don't get challenged. But when you have to explain something to somebody, or maybe they just bring a fresh new offense or a defense and says, hey, what if you try running this? Because you're right. The offense, the thing that John Beilein, when he would beat State, I never understood until he explained it to me. He would concede the rebound. And it was like, well, he was like, no. Because to beat Michigan State, you don't let them run. You make them grind the game down. He specialized in that, and that's why he had such success. Because he said, I'm not going to get into this competition with you. I'm going to make you play a half-court game. And yeah, the half-court game has gotten stagnant. A new coach can maybe bring in 5 new plays that you're like, whoa, okay.
And it's harder to do. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And I understand it's one thing for an idiot like me on the radio to say, geez, I'd like to see an update. There's a lot that goes into that. I mean, it's like for years. And I mean, hell, I've found myself guilty of it in years past where I'm like, God, I wish we could just mix in some zone. But that's not something you install during the year. And hell, it's even hard to do in the off season. The point I'm making is you look at
good luck with that.
Oh, I know. That's a dead issue.
Oh, no. But you know what, Mike? It works because I remember having a conversation with him for a long time about, Tom, why don't you run a press? Because Press and Judd and said this and blah, blah, blah. I was like, Tom, you got athletes. Some years you don't. Some years you do. The years you have athletes, use them.
Or at least have more tools in the bag. The other problem, right? Rico brought up the recruiting. I brought up the recruiting. I mean, they don't have a top 30 recruit next year. And the one they have that's just outside of it's the child of a former player. Like, it's not good enough. So I need to see the backup to those words. The question I have for you guys is straight up. He says he is going to make another meaningful run in this tournament or die trying. Is he going to get this done? Will he do the things that need to get done? Or if you think you know what he needs to do to get it done, tell us. I mean, Rico and I are more aligned on this than I guess I believed. He could stay as long as he wants if he's going to do the stuff, do the work, whatever verbiage you want to put to it.
Right. You can't tell me, hey, I'm trying to lose weight. Well, what's that? It's a McDonald's bag. Guess what? You're not really trying. But now if I see you working out and you're trying. You're going out. You're hitting the road. To me, the next month is going to tell me a lot. What are you going to do in the portal?
I'm with you 100. Because look, Rico, I'm saying they need 3 players. They got 2 spots. You know what else Tom's got to do? Bye.
Trim the roster.
That's it. He's got to do what he doesn't want to do.
That's why I said player development. And maybe the new coach can actually take some of these guys. Because, lo and behold, sometimes you can get better.
You can.
You don't have to be the same hot garbage you were as a freshman.
Very nuanced. 248-539-9797. I want to get to your phone calls.